everybody, welcome to Zine Cuisine. This is your channel on everything about zines. We have some pretty cool things to show you today, including Gallas and Jerry's awesome books. Jerry sent us a nice smattering of books, and we're going to do a little mini review on them. But a couple bits of news first, and again, I don't know if you've noticed, we've kind of updated our software. We've updated the camera, got a new phone, has a really nice camera on it. So a little bit of better production quality. I'm learning how to use Filmora. If you have any tips, please put them below, because this is a new program to me and I've never been a film editor, but I'm learning real fast, and I edit all these until I can afford to pay an editor. You're stuck with me. I'm really good at cutting and pasting and copying, but not really good at video as well. Yet I have a channel, so here I am. Anyway, so some other news. We have some great content coming up. I have a bunch of zines that we have to go through over the next couple weeks. We have a super special episode going to be posted next week. Sunday, we are going to UNCW, University of North Carolina, Wilmington, on a turn and burn day trip with me and David. And we're going to go and see their zine display. They have like a whole zine display and show that's kind of based around it. Like, it's like curated and everything. And we're going to do an interview with the professor who is spearheading that, and is, from what I gather, also a zinister. So total cool. Here we're going to go with this wonderful little smattering of books. Well, I say little smattering, but they're pretty decent, like, size. I mean, one of them's like this big. Also, really cool is Jerry has a YouTube channel now, and I'm so excited because we are going to do a crossover episode, and that makes my heart so happy because we're going to talk about things. Jerry's is more about independent comics, definitely touching on zines, and it is a lot more on the factual side. Like, you can learn so much. All right, everybody, here we go. So we have a great selection from Jerry, and we're gonna start with Palm My Soul. Palm My Soul right now has what we have, at least, is we have volume 1 and 2, and Palm My Soul is, let's see, the best way to explain Palm My Soul, it's like a Puritan scarlet letter with a twist. The main character is somebody who can, like, take the sin away. If you know that's probably the best way to put it. And it's a really interesting story, and I totally get it, and it's great. It's really hard to explain, so we're going to kind of go through a few pictures real quick of it and kind of go over it. So this is a quarter page staple bound saddle stitch bound black and white on a really nice kind of like heavier weight paper. It has that nice flick to it. So it's black and white, and each of these was a webcomic, and Jerry does this thing where it's literally each page is a picture. So each one is, you know, there's a whole scarlet letter kind of, you know, which thing, but, you know, they all need her, which is kind of great. It's a great story. I adore it. Like I said, it's just hard for me to put into words. You really have to experience it and read it for yourself. So we have 2 issues here. I want to probably put these in the next giveaway when we hit 500 subscribers, and the next one will be 1,000. So we hit 500, we're going to do another giveaway. And I think I'm going to put these in there because we have a personal copy of this, so I want other people to have a chance to get it. And this is, I don't want to like ruin the story, but the second one really kind of lends more into the whole thing. So quarter page, Radiant Pessimist Press, I believe is Jerry's personal press name. And yeah, I mean, I love Jerry's style. Jerry is an illustrator that generally takes the comic one panel at a time kind of thing, which I don't know if you've ever read Understanding Comics, but doing that really does pace out the time more. So you don't have, you know, panel, where you're literally telling a quick succession story in sequence, you know, just like boom, 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 here's the story. And the next page or the next like 2 pages, you're in the same timeline possibly because it's so much. This is a lot more like, this is a conversation right here, and they're facing, which is great, because if it was, you turn the page with this style comic, if you turn the page, it's really something like, sometimes a whole different story, but you can tell, and you can keep along with it too. So, you know, you have this, and then you're going to this one, which is literally moments later. You've got a nice big gutter right here, but then you're going into this one, and they're facing pages. It's just going to go ahead and right there and tell the rest of the story, but you're going to keep track of it because it makes sense on the way that it is paced. So it's a different kind of way of storytelling with comics, and sequential art is doing the single panel like that, and it's Jerry's, from what I have seen in Jerry's work, it is her favorite style, and I adore her for it. So there's that one. Again, Upon My Soul, we will be doing a giveaway. It's going to include these. Let's see what else. The next one is Big Fish Eat Little Fish. And Big Fish Eat Little Fish. Here we go. I'll move Upon My Soul right up here. Big Fish Eat Little Fish is... Now, I know, according to what's in here, we're going to go ahead and read this. This mini comic was inspired by the Flemish Renaissance artist Pieter Bruegel the Elder in his Big Fish, Little Fish, 1556, Two Chained Monkeys, 1562, and Winter Landscape with Ice Skaters and Bird Trap, 1565. But the one word I have for this, when we look at some of the pictures, is Lynchian. And we all know that we are huge stands for David Lynch, so it gets a little weird, is all I'm trying to say. You got the very kind of like Flemish, and again, we're looking at a single page, single panel kind of thing. And it looks like an old painting. It's the whole style, like, you know, very much more minimalist than the actual paintings, but you're getting the idea. And then you see a fish with legs, and what a nice set of gams too, just saying. That's like great fish legs. If my fish was going to have legs, it would have those kind of legs. And you know, different this one's definitely humorous. Different things that go on, you know, like very existentialist fish with legs. So I'm not going to ruin this for you. This one's pretty cool. So we're going to take this piece of paper here. This is basic letter size. This is sticker paper, of course, but you can see that you can fit books like that. You can fit two pages per, so you get pretty good economy. I tend to do half letter size, but this is like quarter letter size, so that's the size that we're going with, which is kind of great. And you know, you can do, but I like the white line. It really gives that whole style of like the one panel per page that Jerry uses. But you can trim all this stuff off and make it a little bit smaller or do square size. There's a lot of trimming involved. But again, this is a quarter letter. And so that one is just, yeah, you're going to love it. Let's see. The next one before we get to the Poet and the Flea is a lookbook. This is a full color. Full color, yep. and glossy. So you can really see the gloss. Woo, woo. And how did I put this? Hello Blob lookbook is quiet yet Lovecraftian because it is, and this is a true lookbook. It's not really a comic per se, but it definitely fits in with the Zine Fest. I just want to start singing the Hello Kitty theme song. You know, hello Kitty, play with us today. But it's hello Blobby, and yes, we have a blob. We have a really cool blob that with a really neat checkered background. But yeah, when it comes down to it, it is a lookbook, and I don't know if she did this part of a challenge or something, because it seems like each illustration was done on different days. Like, you know, like 1, 2, they're different looks. It might have been part of like an Inktober or something, but I love it. Look at that little Sailor Scout kind of outfit. Very kawaii. There's, oh my gosh, an Elizabethan blob. But yeah, this one's really cool. Yeah, definitely a take on that whole Hello Kitty kind of trope. And there's a lot of different people who do their own takes on Hello Kitty, and I love each and every one of them because I'm a huge stan for Sanrio. But Jerry spent a year in Japan, so definitely got her fair share of seeing Hello Kitty everywhere, because it is everywhere. This one right here, I'm pretty sure with Radiant Pessimist Press, you might be able to find it on Jerry's site. So that's really cool. I love that one, and I'm sorry, but I am keeping that one for myself. That is the payment I get for doing these tasty, tasty reviews. Alright, so Poet and the Flea. This is a really awesome big book, and we're going to talk a little bit about the binding and everything like that. With Hello Blob, you definitely know that it was a professional, like, printed. It's not printed on nice paper on a copier, but this is like, you know, nice full glossy with really nice shiny paper on the inside, really smooth. And the format, again, is more of a professional format, and it's a little harder to get. You can't do this. You can't print on this kind of paper with, like, my Epson, you know. Same thing goes with Poet and Flea. This one is, I believe it's called Perfect Bound. When it's like little sections and glue. So let's see, there's the camera, come on, show me, there we go, you can really see right in there. The actual cover feels like velvet, and I cannot stop petting it. It's just so soft and smooth and like lush. So whatever paper they use, this is a professionally printed one. This is volume 1, so that begs that I think that there's another volume out. Poet and the Flea is about poet and painter William Blake. A little note about Jerry. Jerry does love history, and is part of like another like little group of historical comic artists and sequential artists, including Beth Barnett. So I really adore it because it's, you know, it's something that you could put in a regular library and you're going to learn something from it as well. So we're going to go into it. This is obviously the big book. There you go. Look at that. And it looks like she did this with actual ink and handwriting. So it's really neat. A nice little letter to Monsieur Blake. And yeah, this looks like it was like watercolor done or traditional media done and then scanned. And you can really tell a difference when something is digitally, and we're going to bring it back over here. Like, I can tell that this was digitally drawn. There's a specific kind of look that digital art has from traditional art. And you can scan all you want, but it's still, you're going to get that traditional art kind of feel. But this is a full-on, like, comic. You definitely have your normal Jerry Gallas, one real, like, page per, but you have more of a story per page, which I like. I love this one right here because, like, the pictures are overlapping into the words, and then, you know, the words are kind of, like, a forefront of the background of this. So you have some really interesting ways of storytelling in here. You can tell on this page right here, right in here, instead of having the like a white gutter, you just really going right into it. So that just shows, that time is not really like, overlapsing over a slightly broader moment. It's like right on top of each other. And the storytelling just kind of flows into each other that way, which is great. And that's one thing when you're making comics, especially comic zines. Not all comics are zines, not all zines are comics, but when you're making comic zines, you have less paper, like, I guess you could say real estate, because a lot of times people are doing this on their own funds. And when you're doing it on your own funds, one of the problems is you don't have the money always to use a lot of pages. So you have to be a little more concise with your page, your page economy. That's the word I'm looking for. Your page economy. That's perfect. So this is definitely using good page economy. You get a really nice big splash right here with this whole prose, and then you go question and an answer, and it's boom, 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 and it's beautiful. Some great silhouetting to kind of show like the words are definitely forefront, and this is just obviously the person talking, but and it's a great way of telling stories, especially if you're trying to get that economy of page. Another thing I want to bring attention to is, instead of using a gutter system of comic, these look like they're all hand drawn, and there's something really beautiful about the almost like natural lining. I mean, it's straight. It's definitely a straight line, but the natural like wisping definitely lends to the storytelling, and that's in the word bubbles. That is in all the inner, like right there. It just kind of gives a sense of, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to say whimsy, but I'm going to say that kind of like precious yesteryear is what I'm trying to go for, and that feel of like, Currier and Ives, where they use like more of the scrolly kind of techniques. So it's really beautiful, and you see it more in some of the further when you go in some of the other lines of like the silhouetting right here has the little wisping. I'm gonna call it wisping from now on. It works perfect. I'm not gonna tell you ruin the rest of the story. This is definitely gorgeous. So this is like definitely like one of those historical comic retelling stories. Again, historical comics are the way to go. You learn something, you really feel what it is with that author, and yeah, it's wonderful. I'm gonna go ahead and give any of her stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a general G rating. Now, granted, if you have younger readers, they may not understand all the words, and some of the stuff might be a little harder to grasp. But kids like I would have been able to devour this in an afternoon in third grade, and I would have loved every moment of it. So, again, go ahead, support Jerry Gallas. Jerry's got a very awesome, very cool book called The Plague and Dr. Kame. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and crowdfund and support it so you can get this book and we can get this book printed. So do that as well. And we're going to go ahead and finish up this episode. So wrapping up. Boop. I hope you like the content that we are creating here. We want to be able to bring you things like Jerry Gallas and be able to bring you more zines, more tours of Zine Fest, more tours of really cool other personal collections of zines, stores that carry zines. And we want to be able to travel and bring you this stuff because not everybody can travel. And I know with this whole hubbub of this COVID-19 thing, there's been a couple of big shows that a lot of our artists and musician friends are part of, and they're unable to make the money that they were going to make at that. So if you have a friend or an artist or musician that you love with all your heart, please, if you know, especially for a fact that they were supposed to go to Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, which was postponed, but they're postponing it till the summer, which summer con schedules, if you do cons, you know that we book those things out months, if not a year in advance. So that's kind of like, might as well just cancel it this year, y'all. I mean, but who knows? Who's to say? Who's to say? Also, South by Southwest in Austin was canceled, and that's devastating for Austin because that brings up so much customer service workers, money. It's almost like Black Friday in a way, but it's like almost like a full week, right? So it's kind of like Black Friday as Uber drivers, restaurant workers. I mean, all these different people who are in the service community make money from doing that. Artists had to cancel their tours, which they would have had merch to buy, like musicians and stuff. And I know they had a whole nerdcore panel, like a whole series of nerdcore shows that some of our friends were supposed to be in. And yeah, that's merch sales. Merch sales are equal food for a musician. Just like when we are at a con and we have zines and art, you don't buy art and zines from independent people and you go over to like, just a random person who's hawking third party stuff that's been stolen. You're taking money right out of artists' hands that literally are going to bring them food and pay for their hotel. So again, it's super important. And today's episode is going to be brought to you by the word support. Support your artist, musician, writer, friends, and buy their stuff. Share their stuff. It costs nothing to share. And I'm not saying this, hey, share our video, which, we want you to, but we want you to share anytime your friend has a link. They have a link that says, hey, if you could share this, that'd be great. I'm just trying to get my art out there or trying to get my music out there. If you see it, just hit share, just hit reblog. Just go ahead and hit that little like reblog thing on Twitter. I mean, anytime I see some zine related on the Twitter, I try to reblog it as often as possible. Zine Fest, all that stuff. It's the only way that we can beat the algorithm, I think. So, again, today's episode is brought to you by the word support. And that's it for today. I know I got a little preachy there at the end, but I mean, this whole COVID thing's got a lot of people scared. We don't know at this point really how serious. I really don't know how serious it is. It's making things a little tricky with canceling shows. There are some big shows coming up, and I'm really hoping that they don't get canceled. Island, Virginia, there has been three different cases of COVID-19. It's 19, right? 19. Sure, we're going to go with that one because it's a great number. COVID-19. And there's been a few in North Carolina where my sister and brother-in-law and a lot, like mother-in-law, a lot of friends live. And that kind of worries me. I have friends that are immunocompromised. And there's a lot of shows, and is it going to kill the amount of people going to shows to support other friends if this thing is running rampant? How bad is it? I mean, it's all up in the air right now, and it's a little frightening. So go ahead and support everybody. Take care of your fellow friends, and love each other. That's it. Love each other. Don't be a jerk. So that's your words of wisdom today. So again, thanks for watching Zine Cuisine. Subscribe, comment, retweet, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next episode. I'm going to do another review this week. So we'll see another review probably later in the week. And bon appetit. Woo!